Alright, hey guys, welcome back. And in this video, we're going to take a look at product mockups, right? So some of you might be familiar with what these are, but if you haven't seen these before, these are a really great resource for you out there as designers and artists to showcase a design or logo or brand on real world objects that we would be using in relationship to these products. So in the lessons that I have here for you, there's a product mockup template that you can download. It's a little bit of a larger file, so it might take a little bit. It might take a minute or two to download. But once you have this open and ready, let's go ahead and take a look at this here. And what we're looking at is a product mockup that is of this bag, this shopping bag here. And I just want to kind of show you how these operate, right, and how these work. So the image here is courtesy of pixidin.com, and you can find a lot of great free product mockups out there. So you'll just have to look and see. Some of them do require attribution. Some of them are completely free with no attribution. So just be careful navigating. It's the same thing with any other image or resource you use online. Just make sure you're giving proper credit where credit is due. So for this image right here, and most product mockups will work something similar to this. So once you have this open here, if you look in our layers section here, we can see that everything is nice and grouped and organized for us, which is tremendously helpful. So we can see, so if the background, we can drop that down and we can see that there are things that we can change, right? So background color, if I just double click, I can change the background, right? And these are really nice as far as editing things. I can play with the levels, and if I want to put in a background, right? So these are all smart objects. So if I wanted to put something in here, if I didn't want to just have this default background, I could double click here, and this will open up a new window where whatever I do here, if I save it here, the change will apply into the mockup. And I'll show you that once we actually get to the bag there. So don't worry about that right now, but let's close that. And then let's open up the bag here, and we see there's a lot of different things that we can play with. So just kind of moving down here, if I come into the overlay, we can see our highlights and textures. And if you want, you can turn these on and off to actually just see what they're doing. You may actually want one of these off. Just kind of depends on how you're establishing the bag. If we look at the handle, right? The handle here, if I open that up, handle color, right? And they're using masks and clipping masks throughout. We're all familiar with that. But if I double click here, notice I can change the color of that handle, right? So super easy to use, okay? And most product mockups, you see where the red is around the eye, most product mockups make it easily identifiable for you to know where you should be changing things. So usually the red here is kind of telling you, okay, this is something you can edit and customize, right? So coming down here, we can see, let me just open this up wider, put your design here, right? And they're using a layer mask with the smart object, and this is where you would be putting in your image. So rather than like place embedded or anything like that, we're going to use what the smart object can do. So if you remember what the smart object's capabilities were, again, like I was saying with that background, if I double click, right, so this is a smart object here, if I double click this, I'm just going to ignore this. This is the text notification saying that I need to resolve this text, but I'm just going to not resolve it. So it brings up the smart object here. So whatever I do here is going to apply into the next image. So let's just say I'm going to, and here's drop down menus that show us everything that's happening with that text. So I can turn that on or off, but let's just say I'm going to delete that text. And then there's a little disclaimer here at the bottom. This is a high quality PSD shopping bag mockup. I'm going to just delete that there. And then bag color, I can change, I could change the color of this bag. Let's go ahead. I'll just change it to white just for this exercise. And then I'm going to come up to File and Place Embedded. And I'm going to use that same little robotics white logo that I kind of made in that earlier video. And I'm just gonna put this in here. Okay. And recall with the smart object, once I hit save, right, if I make this change here, and then when I come back to the gravity bag, then that change has been applied. And notice the perspective and everything. Oh, see, I didn't quite match these here with the horizontal lines, but that's okay. So yeah, so that change there in the smart object made the change in the mockup here. And then now I can see that the bag, right, the front of the bag is white, but the side of the bag, right here, bag color, I can come in and I can now change that to match what the front of that bag looks like. Okay, and then another drop-down menu for the shadows here, right, turning these on or off. Right, so we can see there's all kinds of things that we can, the reflection, right, over the ground here. So this is how product mockups work. So with your next project here, once you have your design created, you're going to have to find a couple product mockups where you can put your image in and play around with these just to get a working handle on how product mockups can work. And then one of the 3 product mockups has to be an image that you take yourself, where that's going to require you to do some editing and remove elements like the background and basically kind of showcase and highlight that object by itself. Okay? So yeah, play around with these. And again, there's a lot of free resources out there for product mockups. Again, just make sure you're using the proper attribution and giving credit, and looking forward to seeing your products on these, or your logos on these products. Okay.